So we just discussed about evaluation of infrastructure, then we discussed about evaluation of VMware, then evaluation of vSphere, right? Do you have any doubts on this areas?
No, it's clear because I am also seeing all the activities day by day.
Okay. Okay, now let's move to that VMware VVF training part. Okay, so before we get into that ESXi installation, we need to understand about the data center, the rack and stack, then cabling. Okay, all those stuff. So we need to understand before we start with the ESXi installation. Okay, now I'm running a business. Okay, I'm having a corporate office. So normally, like nowadays, no one is placing their data center on the same office because there are some strict rules and regulations which needs to be followed. Okay, so at that point of time period, we'll be having our data center separately, which is connected with some MPLS connectivity from the office to our data center. Okay, so once that connectivity established by a service provider, normally ISP will provide this kind of connection, and we don't have any roles to play on this MPLS connectivity and all. If you contact ISP, then they will help you with the connectivity between your office and data center. They will place some routers for it. Okay. So inside the data center, we will be having our networking device called routers. This router sometimes will be placed by the ISP, or if you have our own routers, yes, you can place your own routers. So below that, you will be having our firewall devices. Okay. So whatever request which is coming from the corporate office or from the outside world, when it reaches the data center, then it has to gone through a firewall filtering. Then below that, you'll be having your core switch. Okay. Below that core switch, you'll be having our access switch. Okay. This is how the data center will be there. Okay. Now, in this data center, we are not going to, as a VMware admin, we are not going to manage this network devices completely. So our focus is completely on the server hardware part, right? So before we place a server hardware in the data center, this kind of connectivity which needs to be established from the corporate office to data center, then data center. Inside the data center, we'll be having a router, firewall, then our networking devices. Okay. Once this is done, we need to place a time server in the office. Normally, time server, they will place it as an appliance only. This server will contact the internet for a time. Okay. And this is the device which is going to provide the complete time for all your devices in the data center. Router, firewall, switches, our ESXi servers, then
This is the
VMs.
NTP server.
Yeah, it's an NTP server, NTP appliance.
Okay.
This is how it looks like. Okay. So this is an NTP appliance. Okay. Normally, like if company is uh, reduce some cost, they will install this NTP concept on Windows AD itself, or they will place some open source Linux servers for NTP. So that is not a good option. Okay. So always go for with NTP appliance. But in the screenshot, I just placed one, right? So normally, if you are supporting an enterprise client, there will be having some 2 to 4 NTP servers will be there, just to like manage the redundancy. Okay, this NTP servers will be directly connected to the internet. It will fetch time from Microsoft or Google times.google.com. From there, it will fetch the timing. Locally, our servers will fetch the time from this NTP server. This is how the concept will work at the backend. Okay, so this is the concept. NTP server is contacting internet, and our local servers are contacting this NTP server for time. So without this NTP server, like deploying VCF, NSX, okay, if NTP server is not properly configured, those deployments will create a problem. Even in VCF 9 and all, if NTP server is not configured properly, it's difficult to complete the installation.
Yeah.
So below that, we'll be having a spine switch. Spine switch below that, we'll be having a leaf switch. Okay. So this is how they will form a data center. Okay, once this activities are completed, then we are going to place our servers. So from the server perspective, like what kind of server you are going to place in the data center for ESXi installation? Is it going to be an hyperconverged server? Is it going to be a composable infrastructure, or is it going to be a normal rack server? Okay, so what kind of hardware you're going to pick for your requirement? Okay, so those things will be decided by the architect. So because they will sit with the customer, they will understand the requirement and they will select which product in the current market will fit for the customer exactly to meet their requirement. That's how they will select the product. Okay, so as I told you, it might be a rack server, it might be an hyperconverged hardware, it might be an composable infrastructure. So any hardware, you should be in a ready state to support it. Okay, there are multiple vendors, right? So you need to update your skill set. So first, from VMware perspective, VMware hardware perspective, just select at least two vendors and make yourself familiar with those hardware. Either you can select a rack server, you can select a hyperconverged, or you can select a hyper composable infra and ensure you have some good skill set. Okay, so as of now in 2026, if you are searching for jobs, then you should have some skill set on vSAN ready nodes, normal rack server, then hyperconverged server. As I told you, two examples, two top leading players in the market, right? VxRail or Nutanix, and composable infra. HP Synergy is the topmost product. Okay. Okay. Now below that, we'll be placing our servers, our VxRail node, right? A VxRail node or any rack server. Okay. So now this is how, like a normal data center will be there. I'm not saying that all the data centers will be built on this model. This is a basic example how they will build a data center, and finally they will place a servers in the rack. The connectivity will goes like this. Okay, from the corporate office, if I want to connect, I have to come via MPLS, reach data center, reach the router, firewall, then leaf switch, spine switch, spine switch, then leaf switch, then reach this server. Okay, so this is how uh, they will reach the server. Now, we are not going to focus on how the router will be configured, how the firewall will be configured, or how the leaf switch will be configured. Those things is completely out of scope for us. Okay, so our focus is completely on this VVF training, right? And from VVF training, we have to start with ESXi installation. So before we start the ESXi installation, how the hardware will be placed on the data center, and we need to understand the cabling of those servers, how the cables, like what are the cables which has been used, and how the servers will be connected to the power supply in the rack. Those things we are going to understand. After that only we are going to start with the ESXi installation. So first of all, we need to understand rack and stack, how those servers will be placed in the rack. Okay, normally we'll be having racks, one or two racks will be there, and we'll be placing those servers on top of the rack. We'll be having a switch that is called as leaf switch. Okay, so top of rack switch. Okay, those servers in the rack will connect to the leaf switch. Okay, so there are types of servers in the market, right? I explained about the infrastructure evaluation, right? There I explained about some of the types of servers in the market. Okay, now let me focus on the racks first, and then we'll focus on the types of servers. Okay, so from the data center perspective, if you want to place your servers in the racks, there are some rack models available. Okay, so here I just shown you power edge rack. Then this is enclosed rack. This enclosed rack means it has some lock on it. Okay, all this four sides will be covered, and then you have a key to lock this racks, and no one can open it, or no one can touch the servers without this one. Okay, so that is comes under this enclosed rack category. Okay, okay. Then next is open frame racks. Open frame racks, like nowadays it's very rare to see using open frame racks. Okay. Now, what kind of rack you are going to choose for your